Hello, hello, and thank you so much for joining us for another episode of From Grind to Goal. I'm your host, LaShawn G, mindset coach and new program manager for TrackGirlz LLC. Tonight, we have an amazing guest with us, and I am so happy to have her with us. Before we get started, just a little bit of house cleaning, if you will, please. As you come in, I'll say it throughout the episode. If more join us live, please make sure your computers are on mute and your cameras are off. And we will open up the stage for questions if there are any towards the end. Okay. So tonight we have with us Olympian, USATF track and field relays coach, founder of the extraordinary organization called TrackGirlz, and overall bad, you know what, bad mama, Mechelle Lewis-Freeman. Thank you so much for joining us today, Mechelle. We're so happy to have you with us. I always start these episodes with one question that I ask everyone. Give us a little bit of info on who you are, what you do, and why it matters.
Ooh, why it matters. Good. Well, hello, everyone. I am Mechelle Lewis-Freeman. Yes, track and field, has impacted my life. A community, being in community and sports, and has impacted my life since I was a little girl. And just knowing what access can do, how it can open doors, as it did for myself, is really my motivation of my why it's important, to give others access points so they can discover things about themselves. Track and field just happened to be my door, and I use that as best as possible. And I still am today. Started running at 14, competed in basketball and soccer before I started running track in high school. My twin sister and I. Nowadays they train at 7. I'm like, wow, I didn't start focusing on track till 14, but it's different nowadays. But yeah, I started focusing on my sport in high school, went on to be able to attend college with my twin sister right by my side. And we ended up going to school with another set of twins, the Barber twins. So we had a twin room through South Carolina, where we brought the first national championship in any sport to the University of South Carolina our senior year. Continued to go on. I got my bachelor's and my master's degree at the University of South Carolina, integrated marketing communications. And so I specialize in branding, ad agency, managing accounts, marketing accounts. And then I took a break and decided to focus on running. Luckily, that turned out well because I quit an amazing job on Madison Avenue to move to North Carolina to start training. But 2 years later, I walked into an Olympic stadium as a 2008 USA Olympian on the 4x100 meter relay team. Unfortunately, we did not come away with the medal because we dropped the baton. However, it was still an amazing experience for me to 2 years before that, be working full time, have a vision, have a dream, and bring it to reality. From there, I've gone on to start TrackGirlz, a nonprofit, to continue in providing that access and empowering girls through track and field. And as you said, now I am coaching and helping the next generation run faster, especially in the relays for USA, and helping our women get the baton around the track as best as possible in the 4x1 and 4x400 meter relays.
We love it, and we love to hear it. Again, guys, Mechelle has given amazing backstory, and all of that culminates into some of what we're going to be talking about tonight, really supporting our female athletes through sisterhood, empowerment, and track and field via her nonprofit organization. So we're going to continue the conversation, but while we are in May, the month of mental health awareness, really your whole entire story, Mechelle, is grounded in different mindset shifts And as a female athlete, there are so many mindset shifts. You began running at a very pivotal time in a young woman's life, a young girl's life. Um, I started running at that same time, and I know the mindset shifts that had to happen for me when it came to running as a young girl. A time where you're just trying to fit in, a time where really you don't want to stand out. Now, as an adult, it's complete opposite. You want to stand out because you realize everyone is the same. When you started running at that age, and even through your elite status and your elite time, how did that mold you as a woman and as a female athlete?
Oh yeah, that's really good because with TrackGirlz, we focus on the curriculum for middle and high school girls because of that. When I started at 14, track and field is where I was introduced my long-term friendships that I still have friends to this day. It's some of those core memories of traveling and experiencing some of the hottest places I've ever been in and experiencing winning, losing, persevering, how to just navigate and problem solve in difficult situations, understanding how to manage my body. How do I listen to my body? What is my body when it feels like, what does that mean? So just coming into more awareness of me as a person. Then as a girl, track and field is one of the most diverse sports. It has, an inclusive sports, just with the different, whether you want to run, jump, or throw, and the different body types and abilities that it allows you to embrace, for you to find yourself where you can, no matter what your strengths are, your weaknesses, for some reason, track and field, it lines up to where I may be weak in another area, but I'm strong in sprints, but weak here, then that means you're a sprinter. But if you maybe strong, but you don't have good cardio, then you shouldn't be running the mile. You should be throwing a shot put. But it just allows you to find yourself, allows you to focus on your strengths and your uniqueness. Self-expression was really big at that age, in those teenage years, and building your confidence. Your body is changing. And so track and field also allowed me just to learn my confidence. I remember my first track meet, I did not want to wear the little dinkies. And so I would wear the long tights. I would have my clothes like strategically placed at the finish line so I can put my pants on quickly at the finish line. But, by the end of the season, you walking around, put your clothes, I have to tell you to put your clothes on,
Exactly.
like put your clothes on. So, just, coming into owning, who you are, being powerful and understanding your power, your superpower. So I think it was just really critical mentally of who I became as a young woman, developing from girl to young woman in those critical adolescence years, the puberty stages, the body changes, the mindset shifts, getting ready for college and going out on your own and how you navigate through that. And then now as an elite athlete, I think the biggest shift mentally, the biggest shift for me from a younger athlete, a collegiate athlete, even to an elite athlete was my shift in my mindset. And in college, I can line up to somebody at the University of Florida or LSU, and I knew they were real fast, and I would get nervous, and it would make me change my whole game. And I just ran fast last week, but now I was running slow. And that was one thing I was able to conquer as an elite athlete, and I had the biggest success that trickled down into the performance was just showing up at the starting line, understanding who I was as a person. I was 26 years old versus 19 or 20. And those years helped me understand how to stand in my power, how to show up at the line where no one's thinking about you, but you understand who you are and walk in that. And so that was a key critical difference in me being an athlete before I was professional.
I love that you talked about the mindset shifts, even from adolescence to college, but from college to elite status, and knowing you're lined up against these other ladies who are running the same race as you, and feeling that pressure of like, oh, I have to change it up because I already know that they're fast. And then having to remember your own identity, like, hey, I'm on the same line as them. I'm fast too. I got the juice just like them.
Right.
How do you think that, or not even how do you think, how does that translate for you now as a coach to young women who are a part of who come into your program, and with their identity, and even with you as a coach to the women, the grown women that you train in the relays? Because I know identity can get lost once you've crossed a threshold from secondary school to college, from college to elite status, and then from elite status to when you're not actually competing anymore. You may be still around the sport, but you're not competing anymore. That identity changes, tends to change. And knowing that we all have our own identity, how do you keep that solidified for yourself and authentic for yourself? And how do you instill that in the young people that you coach?
It's important, like you said, as far as understanding your authenticity, and living in that. And it takes time to be able to walk in that, like as it did for me. But whenever I come across whoever I work with, I always try to connect, understand what their drivers are. Everyone has motivators. And it's just really connecting with people at the core of what those motivations are. And I try to use the time together to identify those so I can connect with them. And if you're really trying to pull the best out of people, trying to pull the performance out of people, trying to build a rapport with a person, trying to establish camaraderie between the athletes and the trust between coach to athlete. It's just important, and just letting and understanding who people are, and connecting to them in that space so you can understand, so they can understand that you respect them, and you see them. And then that helps, the trust come along to where people can be a little bit more transparent, and honest and open. And when you're in that space, then that's when you can operate in an optimal way.
I love it. I love it. And that even that it segues into my next question. We're all operating from this place of authenticity, or having to learn to operate from this place of authenticity. What feels comfortable for us? What allows us to open up and really utilize our gifts? A program that you were a part of as a young athlete was the AAU organization, where they allow young people as young as 6 and under, all the way through age 18. You see all of these bodies on the track at any given time, various times, various identities. Talk about your involvement with the AAU. How did that build your esteem, your confidence, your authenticity on the track when you're around people that you probably saw that one time and maybe never saw again? Or people who you saw religiously because you all were in the same, I guess, echelon, if you will.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is that I was introduced to AAU actually through basketball. So my very first sport was basketball. And our community, we did AAU in the summer. And that's when we learned how to travel. That's when we learned, mentors, seeing men and women coaching. That's when we saw skill and talent levels that pushed you to want to be better. You're going to have a community. That's where I first learned of how you can leave your home and have a community group and look forward to that community group. And like I said, still have those friendships to this day. Again, AAU basketball was, a core memory of mine because that was my first sport. That's when I first started to travel. That's what got me interested in wanting to do more sports. By the time I did track and field, I actually segued a little bit over to USA Track and Field too. But it was in the same family. You know, we still were in summer track, and we still got to travel and compete and have those friendships. And then I was happy to come back around to AAU now with TrackGirlz and working with them as the largest youth organization in track and field at the grassroots level. Still doing the work. You know, AAU track and field has always been doing the work, and that's who we want to work with, making an impact, making the change. And so with TrackGirlz, we're able to work with them to offer girls empowerment programming to the members, seeing how we can support the girls involved in AAU to develop mentally, socially, and physically. And help provide those access points again to high level mentors, education from world-class athletes, coaches, Olympians, world champions, giving them that direct access point and that education to help further along the experiences they get with AAU track and field.
I truly do love that you make it your business to give back to a group that has an organization that gave to you, allowed so many and afforded so many of the experiences that so many young people are a part of, but then so many more don't ever get an opportunity to be a part of. And I think it's great that you're doing it. You've seen the side as an athlete. You also are able to see the side of the organization as a coach. Talk about that. Do you notice a difference between AAU when you were younger versus AAU now as a coach?
Yeah,
and I know
time goes slower.
Yes.
The time goes a lot slower. Okay.
Yes.
When you were younger, you didn't mind being out there all day. So just like, what time is this 4x4? So yeah, that's the difference. No, but I mean, that's the thing. You can be at an AAU track meet all day and you still want to be there to some degree. But you still want to be there. You still want to be around the people. You still want to be around the performances. You still want to be around the community. So, I mean, I would say the biggest difference between athlete and coaches is that, you know, as an athlete, you just are in it. You know, you're just enjoying the ride, enjoying the fun. And as a coach, it's a little bit different because now you're enjoying it, but you also want to see like outcomes. Like you want to see people progress and you want to see them do well. And then you're sad if they don't. And it's way more emotional as a coach, for sure, and stressful because you're just not as in control. And you're just way more aware as a coach than you were when I was as an athlete, for sure.
Do you see the same thing as a coach for USA Track and Field, for the USA team? As an elite athlete, knowing you have to train, knowing you have teammates that rely on you, who you rely on, and now you're a coach and you're stepping back and watching it all because you've done your job, the meet is about to happen. Do you notice that? Do you see that same, the athletes are in it and you're just enjoying the ride from the inside, and then the outside as a coach, you're just watching it happen?
I still feel like it's like that. Like as an athlete, you're in the snow globe, enjoying the snowflakes. And yeah, I mean, you get, you know, a little, I don't want to say stressed out, but you're aware of the competition. But as a coach, you just have to like say goodbye and watch. And you're stressed out during that time way more. I was way less stressed out on the line doing the work than I am watching the work. So I definitely can say, especially in the 4x1, when it's time to sit down and watch those, I'll be glad when 41 seconds is over. By the way, I'm trying to get to 40 seconds so we could break this world record that from 2012. So,
yes, we are. I am sure we all will be watching. I don't know this story, and maybe people who are on or who will be watching this know. How did it come to be that you became the Team USA's relays coach?
You know, I always talk about reputation and making sure that the mark you leave is very, you know, representative of who you are and the impact you want to leave behind. But it worked because I got a call after I retired. I ran the 2008 Olympics, 2007 World Championships in the 100 and the 4x1. And then in 2009, I had a very short elite career. I got injured and had a back injury and I never ran again. I ended up having back surgery the next year and I just never returned from it. And just being able to just, I don't know, when I just don't think I'm ever going to coach anymore, I think I'm done with the sport. I start working back in advertising and I got a call to see if I was interested in applying. They were about to hire an assistant coach and they were to the relay program and they were encouraging women to apply. And so I did that and I was selected. And that was in 2015. I've been the assistant relays coach since then. And this is the first year I'm going in as the head relays coach on the women's side.
That is an amazing story. And I concur and agree. It's about how you leave your mark. Mm-hmm. It is about the relationships that you keep and keep and maintain. It all matters. It all matters. And I think it's such a tenet to be able to pass on to young people, because that is a tenet that instills leadership. When you're looking at where you are and who's inviting you to the table, who's selecting you, who's calling you back, it's how did you leave your mark and how are you being remembered and how and at the forefront of people's minds. That's a leadership quality. I think a leadership quality is something, and I know because I am a part of the organization now, I'm grateful, so grateful to be a part of the nonprofit organization that you founded, TrackGirlz. Why did you start your own nonprofit? And I mean, you're a leader. We know that, we have that established. Why did you start it? When did you start it? Why did you start it? Who is it for? Tell us about TrackGirlz.
Yeah, well, when I started running in 14, we were always called the TrackGirlz. They go to TrackGirlz, or, it turned into a hashtag on social media when social media came out. I was working at an ad agency in between retiring from track and going back into marketing work. And I was having a conversation with a talent rep, and he was just saying, track and field athletes aren't relevant, but every 4 years. And he didn't have any track and field athletes on his roster. And I was just thinking about all the women that I knew who were so influential, powerful, inspiring, motivating. And I'm like, it's no way that you're telling me that these women that I'm thinking about and I know can't give high level impact. And so that's when I just started. I mean, my background is in branding. I knew TrackGirlz was a brand. And initially I was like, well, I'm going to just make the TrackGirlz brand tangible because it already existed. I just wanted to breathe life into the community, start to provide a consistent space to tell the TrackGirlz story. I wanted to, track and field is the #1 participatory sport for middle and high school girls after I started doing my research. And so I knew girls were participating in track and field. And it was just, connecting with the girls that are already there. And again, just giving them this access. And I felt like if we can demonstrate the women as mentors and tell their stories, expose who they are, to their impact to history, sport, and culture. Just be that consistent platform for that information, that news. In 2015, when I started TrackGirlz, there were no social media accounts or media teams that were posting anything consistently about women in track and field. Now you can, on TrackGirlz, to be one of the first people to tell a story, it's hard now. Now you have media agency that focuses on women and they want to tell these stories of women. So before it was being told, I wanted to be that space. Anything track and field women, be that space. I wanted to give girls who didn't have access to track and field access to the sport because I knew of the influence the sport can give mentally, physically, and socially. Like I said, socially, your friendships, your travel, your community, your social experiences, your impact, and then physically, developing, whether that's run, jumping, or throwing, just foundational and functional movement, strength, power, speed that can just help you with physical literacy. What's your motivation to be healthy for life and want to move for life, how to move for life. And then mentally, like I said, just showing up to compete for yourself, the confidence, the self-expression, embracing who you are as a person. I just saw the opportunity that was being missed and in seeing what the impacts the sport can have. And also the notice of understanding the women involved in the sport and giving them the respect for what they do. And so that's why I initially started TrackGirlz. And since then, our grant programs and our mentorship programs, our empowerment workshops have been able to do all of those things. And so I'm really proud of the work that we're doing.
I am proud as well. I am proud. One thing I did want to shed some light on, because there's a lot of education in your organization, a lot of ways that our young girls can be educated from a very fundamental space of someone who may be very new to track and field, all the way up until, to young girls who've been doing it since they were 3. We have a curriculum. I say we because, yes, as I've said, I'm a part of the organization. We have a curriculum that we share with our middle and high school girls. Can you share with us the curriculum and what it entails?
Yeah, so the curriculum is, I'm super excited about it because it's pretty much the information that we've been sharing through our empowerment workshops through the years. On the sisterhood component, that's when we're giving that education of the history, of the impact through the years of the women involved in the sport, whether it's run, jump, throw, a sprinter, a distance runner. We want to educate you on the women before you who are coming up, and then creating that space for you to have that understanding of the peer-to-peer relationships that you are currently in, when you're at our camps, how you meet new people and have activities where you can share and learn more about each other, and find those connection points. So our sisterhood component is important, a part of that social development. On the empowerment part in our curriculum, we're given those activities that are real issues that adolescent girls face, whether that's body image issues, understanding, we have our core values that we use from week to week, and whether that's authenticity or vision or poise, or consistency with being excellent, and resilience, is going through each of those core values and giving them activities and tools and resources on how they can build those things. And then last, our track and field portion, we are making sure they understand how to build their functional strength, foundational athleticism using run, jump, throw movement. So it's not highly technical. You're not coming to a camp to learn how to do something in particular. It will help your general athleticism, typically, unless we sometimes may have a focus sometimes. Like if Michelle Carter was a guest, then everybody was throwing a shot put. Of course, you're going to want to throw a shot put with an Olympic gold medalist. So even I was throwing a shot put. But it's all about fun. It's all about community, connectivity, and empowerment. We are giving girls the tools to carry on, to problem solve, to understand and more about themselves, and to help them understand their platforms to continue to influence the generations and the communities outside of themselves.
That is great. It sounds very meaty. It sounds very much involved on the teacher side as well as the student side, and I love that. You did say that it's fun. It's not just this. You sit in you're sitting in a classroom or a lecture hall. It's about movement. It's about understanding. It's about fundamentals. It's about mindset shifting and learning, gaining knowledge, and then being able to apply that. I do want to circle all of that back around to me, what sounds like is very akin to the AAU organization. You mentioned earlier that there are grant programs that TrackGirlz offers. One of the programs that we offer is the AAU Travel Grant. Share with us about that and who it's for, who can apply, what is it for?
Yeah. Well, it's so great because our grant program has grown year over year, and we have 4 different opportunities for our girls to get engaged with our grant program. One, of course, being our travel grant with AAU to support their journeys to junior nationals. And we know how expensive it can get trying to get planes, and if you need new uniforms or anything with travel associated costs, whether that's hotel, transportation on the ground. But it's really for us to provide whatever we can do to support travel, to encourage girls to continue their path to compete at a national level, because that experience in itself is even where most of my core memories with my time in summer track it lands. Is going to Seattle, or when I was in Houston, or Louisiana. That's still the hottest place I've ever been to in my life. So your core memories are going to be there, and we want to help you create them. And that's what our travel grant does, up to $1,000 that individuals can apply. We even have it so teams can apply for our grants and get money as well. We also have our Grassroots Grant. So if it's not particularly you going or making it to AAU Junior Nationals, then you also have an opportunity for us to support you financially to participate in the season in that same way, whether that's membership fees or uniforms or equipment, anything we need to remove any barriers for you to be able to participate in the sport. And our last 2 grants is our equipment grant. We have a partnership with Skills. So we give out some speed and conditioning kits to support the training for you to get prepared to compete and train and move. And then lastly, our grants to our own workshops. Some girls are not able to pay some of the nominal fees, or if it gets expensive or anything like overnight or multiple days, we have grant programs that come to cover those fees for girls to be able to attend at no cost.
I love that. I really do. Giving young girls access. That is what it is about. Giving them access, encouraging them to stay with the sport for as long as they can, and then be able to pass those skills down to young girls who come after them. And none of this would be able to be done without amazing fundraisers and donors and people who either have been involved in the sport of track and field, people who love the sport of track and field, or people who just really want to see our young people grow and mature. So how can people get involved with TrackGirlz? How can they get involved with, you as you zoom across the country from meet to meet? What do you have going on currently? Because I know this is a world championship year. And how can people find you, get involved with supporting TrackGirlz and for this year and beyond?
Yeah, so first, follow me on Instagram, is like my name is here, Mechelle Lewis-Freeman. And from there, I'll just put out content. I'm starting to launch some speed and conditioning programs. I'll be sharing content in, races from world championships. We have to go to USA championships, select a team in June. Then we'll be going to our first world championships that are held in the USA ever in history. So heading to Eugene. I'll be in Eugene, Oregon for the good part of June and July. That's going to be my new home setup. I got my kids, my husband coming out for their first time. They better act right. We're going to see how that goes. But from there, we have, under 20 world championships in Cali, Colombia after world championships. And then I have to go to our NACAC championships. That's in August in the Bahamas. So I will be traveling a lot over the next 3 months. As usual, that's the high season for a relays coach for the USA team. And aside from that, with TrackGirlz, we have our Title IX event coming up on June 11th at NCAA Championships. We are going to be featuring some amazing panelists from the Tiger Bells, Madeline Manning-Mims and Chandra Cheeseborough. Also, we have the Title IX, who she used to be a track girl at the University of Oregon, and now she's a Title IX officer at the University of Oregon. Nicole commissioning, so she'll be there as well. But yeah, we'll have our Title IX event. We'll be doing a workshop on site at World Championships to give girls a unique experience of winning 50 tickets. And they don't have to, they're actually just showing up and getting the tickets. They don't even have to win the tickets, but we're going to hold a workshop in Eugene. You know, a big thing is just, again, pushing that ability for them to understand who they are, develop, embrace each other's differences and uniquenesses, and understanding who they are through our workshops and giving them those fun experiences. So yeah, our grant program, you got to apply. It's going to close July the 12th. And we're trying to give away money, so you got to take it. So please apply. You can go to TrackGirlz with the Z.com, and make sure you follow TrackGirlz on Instagram as well. And you can, and that's our two main ways, but we also got Twitter and TikTok. So we'll make sure we give you all that information.
Thank you so much. We truly do appreciate you. We honor you with everything that you're doing to really support the mental health of our young girls, with keeping them involved, keeping them in community, and keeping them empowered in our sport and in their own lives. Do you have a place where donors, if we want to have people to support support TrackGirlz financially, how can someone get involved that way?
Oh my gosh, I'm super excited. Right now we have, it's open right now. We have 5 runners who are going to get an opportunity to fundraise for us at the New York Marathon this year. We're looking for someone to represent us, so go follow us on Instagram, see our post this week on how you can submit a video on why you think TrackGirlz is important for our community, and one of the core values of one of our core values, how you represent that. So you can fundraise money for us that way. And we also have a donations page set up on our website at TrackGirlz.com that you can support us there as well.
Awesome. And we will put all of this information in the description area of this video once it is posted onto the AAU YouTube page. Mechelle, thank you so much. We are so appreciative of everything that you've shared with us. Again, how you're impacting, and you all know where you can find her. We will also put that information in the description again for you as well. We want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. If there are any questions, we'll give you a couple of minutes to type into the chat or unmute yourselves to ask any questions you may have for Mechelle before we head out. I'm very excited. While we're waiting for any potential questions, I am very excited. I know a lot of people don't talk about it. Title IX impacts everybody in sports.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited that this Title IX event, where you're going to be moderating 3 amazing women who have been there from inception with Title IX. How excited are you to be a part of this event?
No, it's really special. You have Chandra Cheeseborough. She was the first scholarship athlete at Tennessee State University as a Tiger Belle. The Tiger Belles, they were the group of women that were coming through track and field in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, going through the 80s before Title IX. And then Title IX came in the 70s. And now you had doors that open, and that were opening doors to make it easier than what they had to face. In the 60s, they were up against sexism and racism, and it was still bringing gold medals home. Wilma Rudolph, making a global name for women in track and field, and the program being able to do that with like Wyoming Tyus and like I said, Chandra Cheeseborough and Madeline Manning Mims, who brought the first 800-meter gold medal as an American woman back to our country. So, it'll be good conversation. The 50th anniversary is this year, Title IX, how we paved the way for gender equity and just making sure that women don't have any barriers in front of them based on their gender. So we're looking forward to just continuing the Title IX story, passing on that education so that the next generation always knows, where we came from and the work that we still have ahead.
Awesome. Awesome. We will be looking out for that information. We'll be looking out for some pieces of content, live streams. If you can turn on, if you can give us a little live stream action, we will be watching. So you guys make sure that you
We need to talk about that. Yes, we need to do live stream. I know we talked about it. So yeah, we want to figure out a way to do live stream. And wait, before we go, I do want to answer this last question. It says, advice you would give yourself if you can go back to college. I would tell myself that you really are fast. Like you really are fast. And just understanding like you were really one of those women that were one of the fastest women in the world, and don't question yourself, don't question your ability, but it can be you. You think that you have such a special gift, but you don't realize how special it is. Because you don't understand that it can be you. But I just would tell myself it can be you. And I tell that to anybody, like it can be you. So just understanding that.
Awesome. I think my spirit and my soul needed to hear that right now. I really do. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much again for joining us tonight for another episode of From Grind to Gold, because there is a lot of grinding, but that gold is so very sweet. And don't forget, it doesn't have to just be the gold medal. It can be your own shining light. Okay, so thank you. We will see you for another episode in June for From Grind to Gold. We will see you soon. Have a great night, everyone.